air front. This is the new battlefront, the air front, from which we seek out the enemy. Not his infantry or his artillery, not his panzer divisions, but the greater menace, the industrial heart of his nation, the foundation on which the Nazi Empire and its armies stand, the power behind the German lust for conquest. The steel mills and refineries, shipyards and submarine pens, factories and munitions plants, pinpoints on the map of Europe which mean rubber, guns, ball bearings, shells, engines, planes, tanks, targets. Steel helmets go on. Watchful eyes strain. Tight formations are held tighter still. Tense gunners more alert. The first flak, just harmless-looking, silent puffs of smoke. Only each puff is a shell exploding, throwing shrapnel around the sky. Exactly the range, accurate flak by radio prediction. 5 miles down, Nazi anti-aircraft batteries have calculated the altitude, speed, and course. Where will the next one hit? You try not to be there. And walls that path with a flak barrage. But you fly right through it. Flak so thick you can get out and walk on it. Bombay doors open. The bombing run begins. They touch. Bombs away. Half of the mission is over, the easy half. Now to get home.
Sioux fighter 6 o'clock up, coming in, diving out, Chief.
B-17 in trouble out at 2 o'clock, watching.
Got an engine on fire. 10:30 coming around. Those 10:30 up or lower? B-17 out of control at 3 o'clock.
Come on, you guys, get out of that plane. Bail out.
There's one. He come out of the bomb bay.
Yeah, I see him.
There's a tail gunner coming out.
Watch out for fighters.
And this one's 21. More wounded aboard. .22, coming in with his left inboard engine dead. .23, with a feathered prop on his left outboard engine. .24, Southern Comfort, with a chunk of tail gone. 5, they flew home on their luck. 29 planes back, so far. 29 out of 36. Our losses were heavy, but the enemy's were far heavier. We destroyed a German aircraft factory, the number of our convoys that will get through now, the soldiers and seamen's lives that will be saved, or the battles that will be won instead of lost. because of what these bombers did today.
So I went down to the federal building, and I had to have my mother's signature because I was not 21 yet. I was 20 and 9 months. And so I signed up, but they said, do you want to go in now and have them call you or wait at home? And I didn't like that, go in until they call you. But I'll wait at home. It was November when they called to report to Chicago. Going to take a train down to San Antonio, Texas. It's the first time I found out that the time went up as you went west. You know, Chicago's 1 hour difference in our favor, thank goodness, or else I would have been late. But it was a DC-3 that was, who built that thing? Still running today. Twin engine Dakota.
Is that Douglas?
Douglas, right. Douglas DC-3. Thank you, Don. Called the Dakota, another name. First time I've been on a plane. I left my sweetheart, and I didn't like that one bit anyway. Oh yeah. So I went, reported where I was supposed to be. That was later, after they gave me a uniform. And so we jumped on the train, headed for San Antonio. And one of the guys on the train, his name was Parmalee Dovey. Such a name like that, almost Davy. Parmalee Dovey. Yeah. And I always remember he said, I would dearly love to play some bridge, you know. And the guys where I worked, they didn't talk like that. Yeah. Came out kind of funny anyway. And at that time, they were still playing auction bridge. And contract bridge is just coming in. If anybody knows contract and auction bridge. But anyway, I'm playing auction bridge, they're playing contract bridge, so we didn't get along too well. Okay. So all the way down, I recall going down Texas, and they dumped us out in the field. We were the underclassmen. Anybody's ever seen one of those Navy training on things like that? When you're the underclass, everybody beats on you, you know. We had 3 answers we could give, whether you were yes sir, no sir, and no excuse sir. Not a lot of latitude there, right? But they put us all in these big, what would you call them there, the big one, where they had all their bunkers. Barracks, good word.
Like Quonset hut?
Yeah, and they went by alphabet. So everybody in our barracks was, last name started with a C. My best buddies were Clement and
Coleman,
yeah,
Corey.
Coleman, yeah, all those guys. My best friend was Richard Clement, Richard P. Clement. So my son John is named Clement in the middle. He's John Clement Coffman. He died over Boise in an accident. So we spent most of the time out on the field exercising or learning how to march, right, Jimmy? Back and forth, picking up rocks, and but the mess was good, except they wanted to have you sit like this, straight up and down, and eat a square meal. And for the square meal goes like this, up straight, in straight, like that. And the instructions were to take your left hand, go pick up the food, go this way, don't look around, you know, back down again. Except I'm left-handed, yeah. So the first couple of days, I didn't do so good. I'm trying to get enough food in, you know, and I'd like to use this hand, but I don't know who to ask. Yeah. I should have held my hand up. I finally got the attention of somebody. Says, "Oh, he didn't mean that." Okay, but you didn't ask a lot of questions because these guys were always telling you until you became an upperclassman. Now it's a little better, okay? But they're separating us out into who wants to be a bomber pilot, twin engine, single engine, fighter planes.
Fighter planes.
So I said, yeah, fighter planes. We all signed up for fighter planes. And it was, I got to tell you this story, it was Christmas Eve. And I was marching duty with a rifle that didn't even have any bullets in it, you know. And over the loudspeakers, about midnight, Bing Crosby singing, what's he singing?
White Christmas?
Yeah, what's the lyrics? I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Is that right? Yeah. And the tears are running down my cheeks. I'm so homesick. And I missed my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we kind of got together after that and planned the wedding, which happened in February. And that she had to jump on a bus, 3 days on a bus, to get from Detroit to San Antonio, Texas. And what faith and love that showed. So we were married on the base, and she was the only gal in the whole. I couldn't even get off the base to meet her, or get a marriage license, or a blood test. I couldn't get off the base.
And her best man was her bridesmaid was a man.
Yeah, T.P. Coleman, he was a hulking cadet. He's a big guy. And luckily we got a one-day pass, and our bridal photos are taken on the sidewalk outside the Gunter Hotel. And that's our wedding picture. So now she had to join, that was Thursday, and on Friday, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So the wives and girlfriends of the cadets all had cars, and so they would travel and take the others along with them. Everybody chipped in for that, right? And so the first thing in Tulsa, she's got to find a place to stay, and they don't have motels like they have today, you know. Check into a motel. The motels were kind of chintzy in those days. Yeah. So we had to find a room, but the class ahead of it had just moved out, so they're looking for people to work and people to rent the rooms. So that's a little bit. So that was that Spartan School of Aeronautics we talked about in Tulsa, Oklahoma. See?
Yeah.
Right outside Tulsa Municipal, which is like the big airport you have here. Yeah. And it was private. There was only one lieutenant, and he was a pistol, that guy. He was always checking the bed check, you know, at night. And I always wasn't in this bed, I was in another bed. See? And I would get an hour gig every time he found me gone. So Sundays I spent, the ladies are sitting on a bench watching me and my buddy Corey's about 6'4", running around this circle, you know, running our gigs off. We got 5 gigs per hour of running. Nicole could have handled that, right? Oh, that was terrible. So then we go to Winfield, Kansas. This is, their first one was primary training. Basic training, okay. And the plane was the one they call a Vultee vibrator. They did do that, blah, 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 blah. Now we're back to Army installation, no more fooling around. And learn the basic fundamentals. And then we go to Texas. Eagle Pass, Texas. Anybody know Eagle Pass, Texas? On the Rio Grande, south of Del Rio. And can't,
You know that?
yeah, they had no facilities for wives or Lily. And that could have been the worst day of my life. When she had to go on a train going north and I had to get on a train going south. I was desolated. Worst day. Yeah. But Eagle Pass, everybody wore cowboy boots because of the rattlesnakes. And what are those?
And the tarantulas.
Yeah, tarantula. Shake out the boots in the morning. Anybody in there? And the colonel used to ride a horse around the base with a cowboy hat on, their cowboy boots. And it was so hot down there we couldn't work during the afternoon.
Sneak out here for a second.
Go to school, it was just sweat. So they had a big pool and they swam in the afternoon. They had great, but they had to go to school at night. Half the crew was flying, and that was fun. That was an AT-6. That was one they call a Texan. It had a 650 horsepower engine, and it really flew outside of a skinny wheelbase, which tend to make you what they call when the plane goes around in a circle, which it should be going straight. That's not too good. But that's where we learned to shoot. We must have shot thousands of rounds of skeet because we had to learn how to lead a target. They even had us on a platform looking down at the skeet. You know, most of them you're looking up at the skeet.
The marriage
Pull, mark, pull. or doubles, bloop, bloop.
It's a little magnet.
And so we had to learn how to lead a target. You don't shoot at the target because by the time the shell got there, the target's long gone, right?
Yeah, who is that?
And then we graduate there,
For me.
and I tell you,
Who's getting married?
had to change trains in San Antonio. We're down to Eagle Pass,
Bring it to me, let me see.
San Antonio on a train. And they had some Mexican drivers there. We told them we were in a hurry and we have to go to this other station. And we should have never mentioned we were in a hurry because I had to sink that out of sight. I couldn't stand. We hadn't been in a car really.
That's
All these cars flying around. Get out of here.
Died. That's his daughter.
But now we travel around because I've got a job towing targets with the B-26 that we talked about, so other guys can shoot at them. We felt sometimes they were shooting at us, you know. But we were way down on US 27, Avon Park, near Sebring, where they used to have the road races, right down the middle of Florida. B-26. Then we got transferred up into Tampa Bay, the big base there, you know. And she had just got a beautiful apartment. Now I'm transferred, would you believe it, to Pocatello, Idaho? Pocatello, Idaho, that's where, you know your map, don't you? You're way down here and there's Pocatello, it's north of Denver.
Yeah.
Way up there. Now we're towing targets again, but we finally get transferred to Rapid City where I join a B-17 crew, getting ready to go overseas. By this time, Patricia is pregnant and she's going to have Cindy at home as in 1944, in June 22. And I couldn't even get off the base. She was with me in Rapid City and had to go home. And I didn't get to see her till about 10, 12 weeks later. You know? So what a nice baby. And then I had to take off. We picked up a new plane in Lincoln, Nebraska. Brand new, man. That thing sparkled. And flew it to into New Hampshire. And then from New Hampshire, we flew up to Goose Bay, Labrador. And anybody know Goose Bay, Labrador? Yeah. And one of the first things a pilot does when he's in the air is to look for some place to land in case something happens. You never know, right? But flying up over that part of Canada north of Maine, there was no place to land. You land on the trees or you don't land, you know. Goose Bay, Labrador, now the temperature's going down because this is getting almost into December. And from there, we had to start fly across to Iceland. Now we had a good navigator, thank goodness, a hillbilly from West Virginia. Because they had us take off at night and we had to fly high enough so submarines could not shoot us down. But not too high to get too cold. Boy, you get up there and it gets colder. And you got out a little bit, then the heaters went out. And the crew, had sleeping bags, you know. They all climbed into a sleeping bag. Hey, that's not too bad. Yeah. And here we are. We just barely found Iceland. If we didn't find Iceland, we'd find Sweden going that way. You know. And we had Marlene Dietrich visited there. And she was singing, "See What the Boys in the Back Room Will Have." And she was playing a song. You ever see anybody play a song? Yeah. Pretty good, huh? And then, now we're headed for England. And in the morning, it's so damn cold up there, we can't get the oil temperature up where we feel comfortable and keep getting it. Finally had to take off anyway. Come on, baby, go, go, go. Yeah. And so, I snuck a look at Ireland as I went down, which is just to the right of our path. I wanted to see some of the white houses and the green grass, 50 Shades of Green, because I knew that's where my wife was from. See, we landed in Wales and turned the ship over. We didn't get that new ship. That's the goes to the colonels and the generals and everything. But I'll tell you something. Now we're in a Quonset hut. You know, you ever see a Quonset hut they're half round like this? Yeah. They're so easy to make, so easy to maintain, and so easy to ship. They all go one on top of the other. And there was no room. There's 4 officers on the plane, and one officer was here, another officer in this Quonset, another one here.
Come here.
And then our squadron went on a raid
Here, do
to
you wanna
this
go
bad
out?
synthetic oil plant I
wanna
told you
go
about.
out?
Mm-hmm.
They put up 13 planes.
That's cool.
And of the 13, one aborted. That meant the engine went out and had to come back. That left 12.
Okay.
Of those 12, one came back. We lost 11 planes on that one trip.
And that one was yours?
Now, yeah,
Were you on that?
places, no, we didn't even know where the men's room was yet, you know. We had to train around there.
Oh, okay.
And here, now you could have almost any bunk you wanted. It's a sad occasion, right? 11 planes, you know, and that's 4 officers per plane, that's 44 of them, and 6 enlisted men per plane, 77 of them. Oh, that's terrible. But
You were the one that came back?
He wasn't on one yet.
He wasn't
no,
on one yet.
I wasn't flying in England yet. They have to train us. They've got radio procedures. They were far in front of us in radios and things like that. And we had to find out where the men's room was, you know. So then we started flying eventually. And to fly a mission means you have to get up about 1:30 in the morning. Go down, have breakfast. If you were flying a mission, you had an egg that day, a real egg. Otherwise, you got powdered eggs. And then you go down to the mission room, and it's just like they show in the movies, you know. They close the door, pull the shade down so nobody can see, and then they pull it off the chart, and you see what the mission is for the day. And it's all outlined, and there's circles on there, and that's where there's supposed to be people shooting at us. And we try to get away from those, this way, that way, that way, there. And it showed where the mission went. And if it was what they call a milk run, you know, an easy one, everybody's, oh, thank goodness, you know, and they're all, but if it's a place like I just mentioned, everybody's spirit went down. It just went, oh, wow, what a day this is going to be, you know. Out to the plains, warm them up, and then they're all following each other on all those B-17s in a line, and then down the runway, one at a time, one at a time. Past this farmhouse that had a tower on it, and then we said good morning to them every day, looking up at them. Then it took about 3 hours to get up to altitude at what we, but it had to be a real precision racetrack because there were other bases all over the place. They had bases crowded in, like, so everybody had to fly precision or you'd be on somebody else's racetrack. That's no fun, you know, planes coming at you from every direction.
Would you be circling to get to altitude?
Yeah, we rode that racetrack.
Oh, okay.
Stayed on that racetrack until we got out the clear where we could see everybody, usually climbing through clouds. In the dark, of course. And watch for our red flares. That's our plane, right? Hot Shot Red was ours. See? So we formed there, and then we get into motion, heading for the coast, and all the planes coming from everywhere according to how many planes are in the mission. You know? And the first time you see what they call flak, that was guns from down below. You wonder what it's like. You know, what is this flak like? You know, and we soon found out because we're flying along like this, and up above us like this, I see a plane got hit right in the engine itself, and the wing went like this, like a Navy fold-up plane, and the rest of it went this way. And the people that were in the plane, they were like on an amusement park. They can't move. They're stuck. You know, oh, they can't even bail out. Poor guys. And a piece of iron, maybe that iron I need for the bombs, was stuck right in our wing. You know, boing. So we found out what flak was in a hurry. So now it's a matter of opening the bomb bay doors and letting them go, and then getting the heck out of there, back to base, you know, and hopefully not too shot up. Anybody that was wounded shot green flares. You always knew who had wounded aboard. But everybody's running out of gas, and with wounded aboard, and everybody wants to get in at a time. And some of the worst accidents were when trying to get back to the nest. Yeah. And there must have been a fighter plane right past us because they would come right over the barrel, trying to get back. They might have been wounded. They might be running out of gas too, you know. But how many times like that? Huh?
Yeah, how many?
35 times. But halfway through, we got a rest. Halfway through. we were sent to the Irish Sea to a golf resort. One of the golf courses that they play the British Open on.
Yeah.
And I thought that was because of the war this course is so tough that we keep it like that all the time. Wow.
That St. Andrews?
Yeah, like St. Andrews. So it's a matter of just keeping on going. During the Battle of the Bulge days, that was kind of bad because we couldn't get over there because of the weather. The Nazis had figured out exactly they wanted to keep the air power away, and so they picked a time when a big front went by. Oh dear. So we finally got over the Bulge, and I didn't know that Dud was there. And we must have flown about 6 missions in 6 days, and that is really weary, getting up at this 1:30 in the morning, flying 12-hour missions. You get back in, you're so tired that you don't even want to go eat, you know, back into the sack and up in the morning. Oh, bad news.
And how about when you were flying, you'd alternate on the stick or
Oh
on the
yeah,
controls?
with this, there was nothing power assist. We didn't have any power assist. Like on your steering now, your steering wheel, how easy it is. Well, that's because there's a power assist on. And the old, like a truck or something, may not have one. You'd know what that, oh wow. And that's what the wheels were like. There was no power assist. They had to operate everything one hand, and the other hand on the throttle to maintain your speed with the other plane. And then we flew the rest of the missions coming into February, and that another mission to Merceburg where we picked up 200 holes in the plane. We lost 66 planes on one day. Oh, that's
66.
terrible. At this synthetic oil plant that the Germans, they were running short of oil. And the English had this Lancaster bomber. It's a big bomber. And it took this big bomb they called the Blockbuster. Yeah, Blockbuster. It was about from me to you, or even longer, you know.
Wow.
And they fly at night. We flew during the day, they fly at night. And there was an English guy flying at night in Lancaster flew over this Merceburg plant, let that bomb go, and it went right down the powerhouse chimney and blew the hell out of the powerhouse, and that was the end of Merceburg, thank God. We would go there, lost that 66 planes, and they were running the next day, you know, with the slave labor and everything. Oh, that's
So you
terrible.
guys would, what, switch off every 15 minutes?
Every 15 minutes, you better believe, watch that second hand come up. Oh.
And just because of the
Yeah, that's
the
tiring
and
with the one hand, yeah.
didn't you tell me one time your pilot was not noticing everybody was turning?
I didn't want to bring that up. That was at that Merceburg. That was, and I can't fault him too much. This was a terrible view. That day we lost 66 planes, and we're going this way, and over this way looked like a big cloud, or the thunder cloud, but everything else is clear. What is that over there? And then a little while later we start to turn, and we find out what that is. But as we start to turn, now the guy flying the plane is a pilot. I'm a co-pilot. He took his eye off this guy. He's not supposed to do that. Never take your eye off the plane that you're flying on. You're going to do something. You're going to do. So here we are flying straight, and this guy's turning. And I quick look. I think my fairy godmother was in my corner, and she's saying prayers for me. It caused me to look up, and I see this guy. Hey, he's going this way, and we're going straight. And so I look over, glance, and he's mesmerized. He just stuck. When the pressure got on him, his voice would go up in the upper register. It just blew his mind. And I had to take that damn wheel and I'm hoping that nobody's up too close behind me, because that plane went right underneath us. Oh God. And I tell you, I called him every name I could think of. I don't think he ever heard me. He never heard me. He almost killed all of us, all of that crew, and I don't know about all the others.
And what was that cloud ahead of you?
That was flak.
Oh, flak.
They were, you got to remember, as the Germans were losing battles and coming up out of Italy and coming back, they were bringing their guns with them. They didn't leave anything behind. And boy, when they had 100 heavy flak guns every side of this, 400 guns all pointed up like that. Oh, shit. Mostly 88s and 155. Boy, could you tell the difference? Wow. And flak starts down here and it goes up. You know, if you're down below it, it's not going to hurt you, but boy, you're up here, goes. That's bad news. 66 planes, and I can still see these planes going down there, just in flames, and it wasn't just one here. There was a whole bunch of them going. Oh, geez.
Well, some of them didn't hear your story about the Bombay doors, so why don't you tell that?
That's a long story.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah, some of them didn't hear it.
That's a crazy story. Anybody ever been inside a B-17? Did you make it inside the B-17?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go walk through where the bomb bay doors are and everything?
Yeah.
That narrow walkway about that wide, isn't it? You had to walk?
Yeah, it's a little narrow walkway.
And the bomb bay, the bomb racks, kind of like this, aren't they? Oh, he likes that.
I don't know, I'm listening.
It was about that wide. It's not very wide, is it?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. And this was my last mission, 35. So they put me with a new crew to help them break them in. And they were pretty good, but they didn't have a bombardier. They had a toggler. And what he did was when the others dropped their bombs, he hit the toggle. All the bombs go off. Okay. Who needed a highly trained bombardier just to hit the toggle button? Except all our bombs didn't go out. One half of them did go out. They're hung up in there. He said, what the hell? There's no way we're going to take those back, you know. We don't have gas to bring them back. We're going to be hanging out all by ourselves. Any Nazi planes coming by, oh, they'd have a feast with us, wouldn't they? Yeah. So I called this toggler. Says, hey, half the bombs are, you know, got to get those bombs out of there. Yes, sir, he says, I don't know how to do that. What do you mean you don't know how to do that? Never even heard of that, you know. Oh, jeez. Guy above me, the engineer, got to get those bombs out of there. I don't know how to do that, sir. It never even came up, you know. What the hell is going on here? So now I'm dressed for the warmth of the windows up in the front. But you get out in back, it gets colder than heck. It's 60 degrees below zero outside those doors.
Wow.
The bomb bay doors are open, you know. Son of a gun, I found a stick about this long. I don't know what it was from. But I was glad to see it. Now I've got to hang on with one hand. I couldn't even wear my parachute, you know. God bless me if I go out that door. I don't know. What do you do? Flap your wings? So I'm hanging on, taking a whiff of oxygen, holding my breath. We're up about 25,000 feet.
20,000 feet down.
And reach over and check. Which bomb would you do first? You got 3 bombs in there.
The top?
No, wrong answer. And what's it going to do when it hits the other bombs on the way down? We didn't want to try that. So let's do the bottom one. Click, and it went out. Hey, the shackles are easy. So up and take another breath. Hold my breath. Number 2. Number 3, glad to see you go. Get those bomb bays closed and get out of here. Wow, was that good to get out of there. It's funny, I never even mentioned that report that it's the stuff that awards are given for.
Yeah, yeah.
But I never even thought, they gave us an award for every 5 missions, you know, what the hell. But that was and I got to come back up in Glasgow, Scotland, at that big bay that they had up there. And here's a Queen Mary is sitting out there with her 3 big funnels, you know. And that's how we came back on the Queen Mary. And that's the first time I ever had that wonderful steak, filet
mignon
with butter. The chefs on the Queen Mary, they didn't let them go. They wanted them for when they started carrying passengers. So they prepared all the meals. That's great.
Tell them about the time the rudders, the cables.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
work.
that was not a lot of fun. All these planes have an automatic pilot, where you can get everything leveled off, right? Get everything leveled off, and then you hit the automatic pilot, and it'll fly itself. You've done that, haven't you?
No.
Yeah, you got a button for that. Why you use it, I don't know. And the automatic pilot had a servo back by the elevator. And if something happened to the cable that I've got a hold of, you could operate that servo. The automatic pilot was right down here, up and down and sideways. And our cables were had let go. We don't know why. And now they can't operate the elevator. You know, they go up and down. That's not too great. We're coming in for a landing. You know, hey, this you got. And so we came in for the landing with that little servo. So, well, like you would operate your program right now, right? And watching up ahead and trying to nothing real fast. You know, you don't want to let the servo jump out of track. They're gyroscopes. Yeah. Easy, easy, easy. Now we're coming in for a landing and and trying to come in and grease it, you know. And not too high, not too low. Oh, so glad to get down there. Oh my God, what are they? That's no way to land an aircraft.
No.
I tell you. No. There was a lot of problems there, but mission accomplished.
Yes.
Right? Thank
And
the
you're
Lord.
quite the hero in our minds.
I had a dear wife and a dear daughter to get back in Michigan. I was telling Pam that I was in London for 48-hour pass, and I came up out of the underground, the tube, you call it, tube.
Yeah.
And it's so dark up there, everything's turned off. You know, you can't see a thing. You can't see your hand in front of your face. Yeah. And I'm telling my buddies that I don't know where we are. And a soft hand takes a hold of mine. She says, "I know where I am." Oh, how nice of you!
How about the time you were shuttling planes to Kingman, Arizona?
Kingman, Arizona, yeah.
Oh, after the war?
Yeah.
Do you run?
We were safely ensconced down in San Angelo, Texas. I was flying students, bombardier students, navigation students, in this twin-engine plane, whatever. And they hauled a whole bunch of B-17s back from Europe. And they plunked them up in Lubbock, Texas. Everywhere they could, in between the barracks and everywhere, out on the roads. And they were all war-weary. You know, really shouldn't be flying these things around. Every plane has a book they call it Form 1A. And most of them are on a red diagonal. I mean, you can fly it. Red X to mean, hey, don't fly. Red says you can fly it as long as you recognize, here's what's wrong. And on the next page, you go down and you got about 3 pages of things that are wrong. But it never mentions if it's a gas guzzler. Never did. And the third one that we got was a gas guzzler. And I'm up in the dome taking pictures. I've still got those pictures around. I want to catch the southern end of the Grand Canyon. And the co-pilot, it's the first time he ever saw B-17. We fired the first two up there. He says, "You better get up here." He says, "We're running out of gas." What, running out of gas? You got about 4 tanks, you know, check all the tanks. Get down there. We are running out of gas. You know, we got a long way to go. Wow. So we finally made it in, and I'm looking at the gas, and they're all kind of leaning on empty. So we made it and texted it in and shut it down. Thank goodness we're here. Went in the mess hall for something to eat, and the guy that's out on the maintenance man, he had jumped in the plane and started taxiing down the runway. He got about 50 feet and it ran right out of gas. So that's what hey, who flew the plane in there? Oh, thank goodness. We would have never been able to go around. If we couldn't go in the first time, we would stall halfway down the runway. Don't even want to think of those things.
Someone was looking out for you.
No.
17 Cayenne.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Archie.
Yeah, those are great stories.
Yeah.
You're our hero.
Oh, wow.
Got a little
And Mark, you don't want to do that again.
No, I never have.
No, let it go.
Yeah.
Let some youngster do it, okay?
Yeah.
But I was always glad that I got back to your country, even though I didn't get this a lot of time to spend on it.
Can we go?
First thing I got was a bicycle, so I had a way to get around there. Right into town, and I found out there was a store for like lettuce and things like that. This was in one store, the greengrocer. Another store for this part. No supermarkets, you know. We didn't have supermarkets here either. That was always fun to go see those people. They were a lot of fun.
What year did you come back on the Queen Mary? What year?